Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and selamat sejahtera to everybody. Hi, happy to see you again. I hope everything is in good condition. In this video, I will share about topic 3, cost behavior, part 1. As a sign of support, please subscribe, like and share. The objective of this topic in this video are: Number 1, explain the total variable cost and variable cost per unit in calculation and in graph. Number 2, explain the total fixed cost and fixed cost per unit in calculation and in graph. And number 3, explain the mixed cost in calculation and in graph. Can you state the components involved in the manufacturing of instant curry puff? Well, those components must consist of direct material, such as flour, direct labor, for example, person making this curry puff, that is the person working to convert the flour into curry puff, and also manufacturing overhead, such as a rental curry puff machine, and indirect material such as curry, meat, potato, and so on. So, after we know the element in manufacturing cost, now in this video, we will learn about cost behavior. Cost behavior ataupun gelagat cost consists of variable cost ataupun kos berubah, fixed cost ataupun kos tetap, and mixed cost ataupun kos campuran. Variable cost. Variable costs are costs that vary accordingly to the changes in the volume of activity. If the volume of activity increases, the total variable cost will increase and vice versa. Direct relationship with the volume of activity. Ini bermaksud, kos berubah adalah kos yang berbeza atau berubah mengikut perubahan dalam tingkat aktiviti. Sekiranya jumlah aktiviti meningkat, maka jumlah kos berubah akan meningkat dan sebaliknya. Ini bermaksud, kos berubah mempunyai hubungan langsung dengan jumlah aktiviti. For example, direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead. Whereas, variable cost per unit remains constant. Manakala, kos berubah per unit adalah constant atau tetap. Now, let us see the illustration of variable cost. Akidah Cake House sells variety of cakes. The information below is related to its business operation. The cost of flour is 80 cents per cake. If production for 3 months are 2,000 units, 3,000 units, and 4,000 units respectively, calculate the total variable cost and variable cost per unit of flour for each month. First of all, we put the variable cost per unit first because we already know the amount as in the questions. The variable cost per unit for each production is 80 cents. The formula for total variable cost equals to unit activity times variable cost per unit. So we calculate the total variable cost for production unit 2000. 2000 unit times 80 cents equals to 1600. For production unit 3000, 3000 unit times 80 cents equals to 2400. And for production unit 4000, the total variable cost equals to 4000 unit times 80 cents equals to 3200. That means the higher the production unit, the higher cost it will be, whereas the variable cost per unit is constant. Relationship between total variable cost and activity illustrated in graph 1. First of all, draw the x-axis, that is the activity or the cost driver in units. Then draw the y-axis, that is cost in RM. Based on the previous questions, for production unit 2000, the cost is 1600. For production unit 3000, the cost is 2400. And for production unit 4000, the cost is 3200. Then we plot the graph. 2000 unit at 1600 cost, 3000 unit at 2400 cost, and 4000 unit at 3200 cost. From this graph, we can get the straight line starting from 0. And this line is named total variable cost. Relationship between variable cost per unit and activity illustrated in graph 2. For each production unit, 2000, 3000, and 4000 unit, the cost is 80 cents. After we plot the graph, we will find a horizontal line like this. This line is variable cost per unit. Fixed cost. Fixed cost is the amount of total costs that do not change or remain the same in total, regardless the changes of volume of activity. For example, factory rent and insurance. Whereas, the fixed cost per unit will decrease with increasing volume of activity and vice versa. Ini bermaksud, kos tetap adalah jumlah kos yang tidak berubah, iaitu tetap atau sama secara total, tanpa mengira perubahan jumlah aktiviti. Manakala, kos tetap seunit akan berkurang dengan peningkatan jumlah aktiviti dan sebaliknya. Now, we see the illustration of fixed costs. The cost information shows the rent expenses of Awadah Creative Enterprise is 15,000. If production for 3 months are 5,000 unit, 6,000 unit, and 7,000 units respectively, calculate the total fixed cost and fixed cost per unit for each month. As we know, the total fixed cost is same at any production unit. So, the total fixed cost is 15,000 ringgit for production unit of 5,000, 6,000, and 7,000 units. The formula for fixed cost per unit equals to total fixed cost divided by production unit. So we calculate the fixed cost per unit for production unit 5,000, 15,000 ringgit divided by 5,000 unit equals to 3 ringgit. For production unit 6,000, 15,000 ringgit divided by 6,000 unit equals to 2 ringgit and 50 cents. And for production unit 7,000, the fixed cost per unit equals to 15,000 ringgit divided by 7,000 unit equals to 2 ringgit and 14 cents. That's mean the higher the production unit, the lower fixed cost per unit it will be. And the total fixed cost is constant at all levels of production. Relationship between total fixed cost and activity illustrated in graph 3. For each production unit of 5,000, 6,000 unit, and 7,000 unit, the total fixed cost is 15,000. After we plot the graph, we will find a horizontal line, and this line is total fixed cost. Relationship between fixed cost per unit and activity illustrated in graph 4. For production unit 5,000, the cost is at 3 ringgit. For production unit 6,000, the cost is at 2 ringgit and 50 cents. And for production unit 7,000, the cost is at 2 ringgit and 14 cents. Therefore, a convex bottom line starts from top left to bottom right. This line is fixed cost per unit. Ini bermaksud satu garisan cembung ke bawah bermula dari kiri atas ke kanan bawah. Garisan ini adalah fixed cost per unit. Mixed cost. Mixed cost is a cost that have both fixed cost and variable cost component. Total mixed cost varies but not accordingly direct to the changes in the volume of activity. For example, utilities. Ini bermaksud kos bercampur adalah kos yang mempunyai komponen kos tetap dan kos berubah. Total kos campuran adalah berbeza dalam setiap tingkat pengeluaran atau aktiviti tetapi tidak berkadar terus dengan perubahan dalam tingkat aktiviti tersebut. Relationship between total mixed cost and activity illustrated in graph 5. Mixed cost consists of fixed cost and also variable cost. So, the line for total mixed cost not started from zero, but it started from fixed cost. Illustration for mixed cost. Requirement: identify the cost behavior below. Supervisor salary, direct material, maintenance, utility, and factory rent. Production unit for January is 1,800, February 2,500, and March 3,000. All the costs related are given in the table. Now, let's find the answer. First of all, you can recognize the cost behavior that have the same cost at all levels. Those are supervisor salary and factory rent, 1,000 ringgit and 500 ringgit respectively. So, the supervisor salary and factory rent are fixed costs. For direct material, maintenance and utility, they have different costs on each production unit. So, you have to calculate the cost per unit. Now, we go one by one. For direct material, cost per unit for January is RM2,700 divided by 1,800 unit equals to RM1.50. In February, RM3,750 divided by 2,500 unit equals to RM1.50. In March, RM4,500 divided by 3,000 unit equals to RM1.50. Now, you can see that the cost per unit is constant. That is RM1.50 at each production unit. So, direct material is variable cost. Now, we look at maintenance. For January, cost per unit equals to RM2,300 divided by 1,800 unit equals to RM1.28. In February, RM3,000 divided by 2,500 unit equals to RM1.20. And in March, RM3,500 divided by 3,000 unit equals to RM1.17. You can see that the cost per unit is not same on January, February, and March. So, maintenance is mixed cost. Now we look at utility. In January, RM1,000 divided by 1,800 equals to 56 cents. In February, RM1,350 divided by 2,500 unit equals to 54 cents. And in March, RM1,350 divided by 3,000 unit equals to 45 cents. Here, you can see that the cost per unit in all production level is not same. So, utility is mixed cost. In conclusion, number 1, if the cost constant or same at all volume of production activities equals to fixed cost. Number 2, if the cost not constant or varies at all volume of production activities but the cost per unit is constant equals to variable cost. And number 3, if the cost and the cost per unit are not constant, that is varies, at all volume of production activity equals to mixed cost. Kesimpulannya, pertama, sekiranya kos adalah tetap ataupun sama pada semua tingkat aktiviti pengeluaran, maka ia adalah kos tetap. Kedua, sekiranya kos tidak tetap ataupun berbeza pada setiap tingkat aktiviti pengeluaran, tetapi kos per unitnya adalah tetap atau sama, maka ia adalah kos berubah. Ketiga, sekiranya total cost dan kos per unit adalah tidak tetap, iaitu berbeza-beza pada setiap tingkat aktiviti pengeluaran, maka ianya adalah kos bercampur. That's all for topic cost behavior part 1, and we will continue on cost behavior part 2. So, see you on the next video. If you like this video, please subscribe, like and share. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and selamat sejahtera. Bye.